Good evening and welcome to tonight's asset protection webinar on getting started in real estate investing. We've got with us Aaron Adams. We're delighted to have him always when we get him, and he's a busy guy and his time is extremely valuable. We are grateful for him spending a few minutes with our students. Let me go through just a couple quick announcements. We do have two asset protection summits coming up before the end of the year in Dallas, and we've got a lot of registrations, but we still have room. Vegas, there's still lots of room in that one, but the Doubletree Arlington is where we'll be. In Dallas, it's an airport hotel, so it's free shuttle to and from. They gave us a tremendous rate. They knocked their rate down about $60 for our group, so that was good. But the expiration on that group discount ends on August 27th. So this class will fill up, and so we encourage you to book. Get registered as soon as you can. Vegas, there's still lots of time. I know that a lot of people, like going to Vegas. Vegas is always by far our biggest class, but it's also the end of the tax year. And so if you're looking to do anything for tax reduction, and that's really about a third of our class, you want to get there as soon as you can so that you can implement some strategies in 2011 or 2019. Yep, I'm up to date here. Okay, but Vegas is there. Dallas, I think you'll get a lot more one-on-one time with the instructors than you will in Vegas. But either one of those classes, they're still open for registration. That's most of you know is where we're bringing in some of the best instructors, attorneys, all across the nation to teach this class. If you'd like a sample agenda of what we go through, this is not a wussy little class. We cover a lot of material. If you'd like a sample agenda, go to protectwealth.com and you can get that. If you're also interested in a VIP registration, that gets you registration, that gets you preferred seating, that also gets you a private meeting with some of the attorneys and instructors, and so it's a luncheon. It's a really good one-on-one time that you get to spend with the attorneys. So anything you do, we encourage you to do it well. This is more of a mindset thing than anything. Come to the class to plan to take 3 days off your life if you can, and come learn asset protection from ground floor and what you need to do to restructure perhaps your estate and get it set up correctly. So we encourage that VIP registration. Again, it's not necessarily about where you're sitting. It's not necessarily about the lanyard you're wearing, but it really is about a mindset. And let's come and do it right. So the cruise is coming up in 2 weeks. That the registration is filled. But for those of you that are on the call, and I see several of you that are registered, just a reminder, you get 2 weeks and we're going to go have a whole bunch of fun in Alaska. And then finally, we've got an August 20th Millionaire Conference coming up that will also be in Dallas. If you live local to Dallas, this would be worth taking an afternoon off and coming to listen to some really, really good speakers on wealth creation. And then finally, before we get into anything, what we talk about with investments, with taxes, with asset protection, we can't make any earnings claims on anything. We can't give legal advice. We can teach sound principles and hope that you meet with an instructor, meet with a professional. That's one of the things we offer at the summit is a chance to sit down with the instructors, go over your particular estate and see how these principles apply to you. So with that, let's get started in real estate. Students come to us after spending $10, $20, $30, $50, $70,000 because they want to get into the real estate game, and sometimes they don't know how. And so Aaron, I think probably knows more about real estate in multiple markets and so many markets, kind of understands the whole gamut of real estate and not just commercial or residential or mobile homes but how to really make money in real estate. And maybe Aaron would spend just a few minutes telling how he got started in real estate, but um, I think that's the frustration that most people have is they don't know where to start. And so we've asked him to spend some time with our students talking about some basics of real estate investing and how you get started, how the average person can get started in real estate. Aaron, I'm going to turn time over to you. We'll be here for your Q&A at the end, or if you need anything, but we trust Aaron. I get to go to Aaron's event usually once a month back in Indianapolis. He's got an amazing team of people, and I've had a chance to work with them. Kendall and I both own investment properties there, as do a lot of our speakers. So Aaron, let's turn time over to you and let's talk about getting started in real estate.
What time are we going until tonight, Don?
Let's teach for about 45 minutes and then leave some time for Q&A.
Okay, great. And Kendall, are you going to be monitoring questions? Because feel
Sure.
free to, if you see stuff, just encourage everyone, attendees, as you think of questions, type them in the box, and we'll answer them real time. Those of you that have been to one of my trainings know that I started as a high school teacher, and I'm totally comfortable with changing thought midstream. I might just do that randomly. Anyway, but so if questions come up, throw them in there. I think they can add to the discussion, especially if there's something that you want clarification or follow up on. If you have heard me speak before, then you know that I do a lot of time, spend a lot of time doing research. If you're on Facebook, I have a Facebook page that's strictly for research. All I do is upload articles to that. If you go to Alpine Capital Solutions on Facebook and just type that in. In fact, let me just go to that real quick here and kind of highlight it. I probably spend an hour to 2 hours a day researching markets, researching trends, and I'm going to give you some really good content tonight to kind of kick things off. But anytime I find a good article that I like, or anytime that I find something about markets that I'm researching, I'll just upload those articles to this Facebook page. So there's no pictures of my dog here. I don't sell anything here. This is purely research. So you can see 3 days ago, I uploaded this article about Charlotte, how it's one of the top cities for millennial population transfer. We're going to actually talk about this article tonight, talking about U.S. home building trends. And so if you're on Facebook and you would like to see kind of the primary source documents that I use and pretty much everything that we're going to reference over the next few minutes talking about markets, I've cited the original sources on that Facebook page. So if you want any of the original content we're going to talk about tonight in terms of market research, then you can find that there. So I have 6 slides that I want to start with tonight because I really want to talk about what's happening in housing and what the opportunities are in real estate. And this first slide kind of encapsulates the trends that I'm seeing and the trends that we're working on. Now, if you don't know who I am and what I do, we currently have operations in 5 states. So we have 5 property management companies in Indianapolis, in Kansas City, in Charlotte, in Dallas, and in Idaho. We have 5 construction companies. We have 5 brokerages. We have 2 mobile home dealerships. We have a title company. We have loan servicing. So we have a massive operation that's investing in real estate, not just single family homes, not just apartments, not just Airbnbs, not just mobile home parks, not just commercial buildings, all of them. And we're doing over $100 million a year in real estate business. So for me, I think of the US market as one giant market. And at any time, I'm always trying to pinpoint where I want to be investing. And that's been happening since I did my first deal in California back in 2000. And we're going to see some interesting trends with housing that I think are significant. that I want to cover tonight. So let me kind of go through these bullet points as the main trends that I see happening right now, and then I'll show you some underlying articles about them. Because if you as an investor aren't dialed into what's happening nationally in real estate, how are you going to capitalize in your home market? It's just it's very difficult to do. So the first thing is we have an affordability crisis. We are underbuilt. In fact, if you look at this slide right here, okay, this is housing permits and starts as a percent of the population. So how many new homes are we starting each year based on our population, and whether are we on the low side of normal? Now this goes back all the way, you can see, to 1958. And you know, I thought it was, you know, when I was born in 1973, we spiked huge growth, and you can see there was really significant housing permits and starts post World War II. It's been up and down. You know, all of us remember here between 2000 and 2005, that was the last big run up before the crash. People ask me all the time, are we in a bubble? And when I look and compare it to 2000 to 2005, 2006, I say no. I don't think we are. Yes, housing has gone up for the last 11 years since the market crashed, but we're going to kind of look over the next few minutes, look at some of the metrics behind that. And this is a really interesting statistic. In fact, if you look at the top of the slide, it says real home prices don't look like a bubble. Existing home sales don't look like a bubble. And now let me show you another piece of we aren't in a bubble. Housing cycle. Housing starts have had their weakest economic period ever, and so has new home sales. Meaning, builders have never built less when you look at the population of the United States than they have over the last 10 years. I mean, look at this chart going back to 2010. Barely 0.4% of the U.S. population is involved with housing permits and housing starts. And so, it's not because of interest rates, because interest rates have been well below 5%. I mean, interest rates here were 6-7%. So it's not interest rates. It's not unemployment. I mean, over the last 11 years, we've never had we've never had less unemployment. It's not because the U.S. economy has been faltering. We're 11 years into this massive economic growth. So when we're looking at why housing permits, well, I can tell you, I've built homes, and there's kind of three factors that impact housing. You have municipalities, you have labor issues, and you have construction costs. Now, whatever your politics as an investor, you need to look at how any administration's policies will affect opportunities in that market. So, you could be a proponent of locking the border. And we've definitely seen we've had a lot of Hispanic contractors working on our homes. We've definitely seen a contraction in labor because you do have less undocumented immigrants that want to, that are trying to get in the U.S. to work. But, I have friends who are farmers, and farmers in the U.S. have this amazing 9-month worker visa. And as somebody who owns 5 construction companies, that doesn't exist for us. And so housing and construction have really seen a pinch over the past couple of years with labor issues. I mean, I'd be a fool if I thought that we never had an undocumented worker pounding nails in one of my houses. That's naive. Almost no company can say that. It's impossible to eradicate that. But we're definitely seeing a contraction in labor and an increase in pricing. It's harder and harder to get guys to work for cheap on properties. And immigration as a policy impacts that. Irrespective of your politics, it's important that you as an investor see that. Now, municipalities, it's a double-edged sword, because I've met with municipalities who say, hey, yeah, we're going to approve that project, but we want a retention pond, but we want a park, but we want you to increase and widen the roads. And so they start, oh, and by the way, no vinyl siding on the front of the houses, and we only want, custom brick. I mean, municipalities start adding in costs to new construction that a lot of times make builders go, forget it. I have no interest in building. And construction costs themselves, construction materials costs. Think about all of the items that are sold at a Home Depot that are manufactured in China. So again, it doesn't matter what your politics are. It's naive to think that what's been happening with tariffs isn't impacting construction materials and increasing them. And so to me, those are the biggest factors that are contributing to why housing permits and starts have slowed, because it's not interest rates, it's not demand, it's interest. Another big dynamic is if you look at home price appreciation over the last 10 years and you look at wages over the last 10 years, wages have not gone up with home price appreciation. Now, if cities were to allow builders to build, a huge amount of cheap homes, then obviously that inventory would drive the price of homes down. But in a market like San Francisco, where are they going to build them? So that's a viable strategy in Indiana. But in any part of the country where you have a geographical constraint, like an ocean, a river, a mountain range, or water, a resource like that puts a ceiling on housing, that's a big factor. So understanding the why behind these trends is really important, because it helps drive decision making. So, for me as an investor, I've built some spec homes. I have no desire to do that. When you look at municipalities, when you look at labor issues, when you look at construction costs, yeah, you got a lot of people that want houses. Yeah, you got a lot of people that can afford it. And I don't know if you noticed, but interest rates just dropped back below 4% again. I think the 30 years at 3.99%. But it's contributing to this affordability crisis, and we need more homes. We haven't built enough homes. Americans want homes, and builders are like, I don't know if I even want to do it. And the builders that are building, they're not building entry-level homes. They're building, upper middle class and high-end custom homes. And so for you as an investor, there's never been a better time, for example, to own blue-collar single-family homes as rentals, because the idea being that when you look to sell them, you're going to turn right back to that population who wants homes, because builders aren't building entry-level blue-collar single-family homes. So it creates a really interesting potential. Now look at this other chart, and if I read straight from the top, it says, for those anticipating a housing bubble 2.0, I ask you to consider the difference between real home price gains from 2002 to 2005. So look here in the chart, 2002 to 2005. Look at the price gains that we saw. It doesn't matter if you look at a national index, which is in blue, a 20-city composite, which is green, or a 10-city composite, which is in red. We had massive price gains. Now, they adjusted for inflation, and you look at it again between 2012 and 2019, and we haven't seen the kind of massive home price appreciation that we saw. So a lot of people think, well, we're in the same kind of bubble that we were before, but we weren't. If you look at FICO scores, when the market crashed here, the average FICO score was in the 600s. We're still in the 700s here. Subprime lending, we had a lot of subprime loans that were feeding the housing frenzy here. There's some that are creeping back in, but not significantly. And so it hasn't appreciated like it did before. And sure, the affordability is lower because wages haven't kept up, but you still have a lot of sideline homeowners that would like to own homes. And think about the market where you live. If prices were to drop $75,000 across the board for homes, how many people would rush in and either upgrade their existing house or rush in from being a long-term renter to being a homeowner? And so, whereas here back in 2005, 2006, if you wanted a home and those stated loans and you could breathe, you got a mortgage. Now, another really interesting statistic that I've tracked is just single-family home sales, and adjusted for population as a percentage of the population. And this goes back all the way to 1963. And you can see that in 2005, July 2005, we peaked for single-family home sales adjusted for population. That was the highest level that we had seen going back to the 1960s. Okay, we really did have a massive run-up in home ownership. It bottomed out by 2008, and we still are barely at the lowest level that we were 0.19% of 1% of the American population are transacting in homes. And so when you're looking at home sales, we really haven't come storming back. Don't mistake higher prices that are more of a function of not enough homes being built with housing activity happening nationally. And so, if you're a house flipper and you're like, well, maybe I should stop flipping because prices are so high in my market, they're almost back to, they're past what they were in 2008 when the market crashed. Think twice, because there's a lot of people in your hometown that want a home, and you just have to get it at the right price point to sell it to them. Now, if you look below the chart here, there's a really interesting, the author of the article, and again, this is on my, this is on my Facebook. The link to this article is on that Alpine Capital Solutions Facebook page, so I'm going to follow that and get the exact primary source from this. And he said, I would really get concerned about housing affordability if mortgage rates got back to 5.8%. And this has been my thesis since 2013. That's where he feels like single family homes would just go through the toilet, or we would see a severe drop in values, because that would blow debt to income ratios out of the water for so many people. I mean, if you look right now, it's back under 4%. And if you go back a couple of years, 2017, we were at 4%. 2018, it climbed to 4.7, but now it's back below 4% again. So as an investor, I'm always very concerned about that 30-year rate, because that has a direct relationship to what homes can sell for. Millennials and boomers are driving the market. They're super active. Those of you that are interested in mobile homes and tiny homes and that aspect of investing, there's massive opportunities in that. We're going to talk about that tonight. International investors have been just a huge opportunity for us for a long time. And we have investors who are buying homes from us in Japan. We have clients all over the world, really. And we've seen a huge pullback with Chinese investors. I linked an article here a couple of days ago on the 17th, talking mostly about China. Now, there's been a big pullback in the homes that Chinese investors have been buying. Me personally, I kind of like it in Dallas, because Chinese investors have been heavily acquiring property in Dallas. So I don't mind at all that they're pulling back. Doesn't hurt me. But it's an important factor to see, because if let's say you live in Seattle and you've been trying to compete with Chinese investors who've been buying properties all over Texas, you might want to rethink revisiting some of those neighborhoods for flips or going back to the auction, because you're not going to be bidding against them. And so, when you look at these trends as a whole, what are some of the conclusions that I draw? Well, I still think flipping houses is a huge opportunity. And tonight we're going to talk about how I like to flip homes and build and develop homes with modular manufactured homes and put them on permanent foundations, because since affordability is such a cloud hanging over housing right now, wages have not gone up, home prices have gone up, and we're not building. Those three factors have made it really, really tough. And we've stumbled onto some very lucrative opportunities by kind of flipping the whole thing around and then looking at modular homes on permanent foundations and looking at mobile home parks. One other trend that I posted on here is about tiny homes. And if you see here, it says U.S. home building fell for a second straight month in June, and permits dropped to a 2-year low, suggesting the housing market continued to struggle despite declining mortgage rates. Land and labor shortages, as well as expensive building materials, especially in the lower price segment, have us in a housing rut. And so the investors that can learn how to provide affordable housing, and to me that means under $200,000. If you can be selling homes in the $100,000 to $200,000 segment, whether you're a house flipper, whether you're a developer, that's the sweet spot, and you just get ridiculous demand. And so that's what I want to talk about tonight, and how we're doing that. The other elephant in the living room, is private equity. Okay, so June 21st, I posted this article to Alpine Capital Solutions, and it says big private equity firms and others that buy properties comprise more than 11% of U.S. home purchases in 2018. And I've seen numbers that show that Wall Street now owns as much as 6% of the homes in America. And so an awareness about what Wall Street is doing, because think about it. Let's say you as an investor would like to actively do deals in your home market. Well, maybe you can't compete with the Wall Street funds as a buyer, but there's going to be opportunity for you to do construction for them, do leasing for them, do management for them, or sell properties directly to them. And so understanding who they are, understanding what their goals are and what their activity should allow you at the home level to really plug into that. And so, that's kind of what I think is happening right now in real estate. Let's talk about what I think some really hot ways to monetize that are. And a few weeks ago when I was in San Diego, we did a 2-day training on flipping, developing Airbnbs and mobile homes. And they're the strategies that I'm using right now and projects that I'm working on right now. Let me show you a home quickly that we just completed. This is a modular home that was built in Boise, and it was shipped here to Idaho Falls. And you can see this was the day that we set it on the foundation. Now, here's the foundation that we put it on, okay? And as you can see, it's like a crawl space. And we attached it in such, even though this was built, and you can see, two sides, even though this was built off-site and shipped in 2 pieces, and you're thinking, okay, this is a mobile home. When you put in the correct foundation, okay, and you attach the home correctly to that foundation, and you have an engineering firm come out and inspect the way that you've attached the home to the foundation, this became a single family home and comps the same as a stick-built home. Now, we've since put in sod, and we put in a driveway and parking, and we'd add a lot to it, but let me give you the long and the short of it, okay? I was into this deal about $100,000. We sold it for $175,000. There is no way that I could buy a single family home in this market for anywhere close to $100,000 right now. And so this idea of building modular homes, and a lot of people don't realize in 1976 they changed the rules. Anything pre-1976 they called mobile homes. Since 1976, U.S. Building code requires manufactured homes to be built to the same building standards that any builder would have to follow when they build a frame stick-built home. And why is this unique? Well, you can buy homes like this for, I bought the home itself for $70,000. I was able to get the lot for about $15,000, and then get the foundation and get the development piece done as well as part of that. But there's no way that I could build a brand new home that cheap. There's no way that I could have a brand new home done in 6 weeks. And so when I was at the 2-day training that I taught at the last Protect Wealth event in San Diego, I walked that group through step-by-step how we do this. And so think about in your hometown becoming a builder who goes out and identifies these kinds of lots and neighborhoods and puts these permanent foundations in, and then don't flip, don't buy them and fix them like you see on the flipping shows. Buy them, have them built, and then offer them to clients. And we're really excited about this because we feel like you can do this in any small town in America to any big. The only place this really doesn't work is Hawaii because there's no manufacturers there. But as an investor, to me, this is a huge opportunity. Let's say you just want to get into rentals. Imagine just buying these and putting them on these permanent foundations on these lots like we've shown here. It's a massive opportunity.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
We got a quick question.
Sure.
If builders are only building limited amounts of McMansions, wages are stagnant, and bank lending is more restrictive than 5 years ago, who's qualified to buy new homes today anyway?
So one thing that we've seen is boomer contraction. So we've seen boomers selling their McMansions because their kids, just down the street from me, he's a surgeon. Their 18-year-old kid moved out and they were rattling around their house. They had been traveling for a couple of months. They literally came home and said, we're selling this. We're going to move into a downtown metropolitan area, and we don't need all this space. And so they're selling the home. We see boomers still taking on a lot of debt. That's a big factor. And, our millennials are now finally getting to, household formation is a metric that I look a lot at. And if you look back in the 1960s, household formation was like 25. That's when people were settling down having families or starting their families and buying their first home typically. That's moved all the way to about 32. But, you know, if you look at our millennials as a group, they're all getting to 30, 31, 32, 33 now. And it's not that they haven't wanted to own homes. It's that they really haven't had a lot of opportunity. I mean, if you look at what college tuition costs now, adjusted for inflation and correlated to median incomes, or what you can make, you know, bartending. I've seen a couple of interesting studies that said, you know, in the 1960s, you could have worked your way through college. That's impossible now based on the fact that universities have criminally inflated tuition costs to where it's impossible without student loans. And so that's been like this punitive issue that student loans have had on credit for our millennials. If you look at Americans, most of our consumer debt is student loans and auto loans, and two things that suppress the debt to income ratio and suppress the buying power on a mortgage. But there's still, in spite of all of that, you're still seeing you know, an increase in home buying as our millennials get out of their 20s and into their 30s. And so they're a massive population segment, and they're buying. And then the boomers are still, you know, your typical boomer only has a couple $100,000 net worth and a couple $100,000 sitting in their retirement accounts. So many boomers are still taking on debt in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, when, you know, the American dream 50 years ago was to have your house debt free. That's just not the reality. In fact, as an investor, I've been placing a lot of loans on homes to this older population. I call them my shaky hand checks that I get every month, because like Aaron, you know, but I love boomers, and I love retirees that are forced to finance a home, because I find that their default rate is almost nothing once they're in the home and it fits within their fixed income. It's just like, you know, guaranteed rent every month. So is that hopefully that answers the question. Any other questions, Don?
Yeah, you've got one. What's the website again? For on your previous slide, you had the website for permanent foundations. Was there a website on that?
No, no. So
all of this is on your Alpine Capital Solution Facebook?
No, it's not. So
there you are.
These articles are on Alpine Capital Solutions Facebook. The content on the permanent foundations and the modular homes, this is content that I pulled this slide directly from the presentation that we do with Protect Wealth. So, and Don, do you want to talk for a minute about that training that we did in San Diego?
Oh my gosh, that was incredible, because what he broke down mobile homes. He spent one day just on mobile homes. And for me, this is where most students, they want to flip houses, but they don't have the money. But they could come in and buy a mobile home for as little as, I don't know how much, Aaron.
I mean, I showed them how to find mobile homes for free, or as little as $500. And you know, it's funny. 8 of the students who were with us that day have since reached out to me, letting me know, yeah, it worked. I found a home for free. They basically gave it to me. It's like, yeah, I told you it wasn't that big of a deal.
And what I like about it is you are going to make mistakes when you're learning to flip. And I'd much rather you learn to make mistakes, or you learn to flip when the zeros are small. Rather than taking on a big project and you don't know what you're doing and you're trying and you're learning, and that's okay. You're in the game, you're swinging, but I'd rather you learn on mobile homes and learn how to flip there when the risk is so much smaller, but everything is in place. You learn how to do contracts, earnest money agreements, how to negotiate, how to deal with contractors, subcontractors. You're learning the exact same principles, but with smaller. And so Aaron broke that down for a whole day, and then he spent most of a day on the market, but mainly on Airbnb and how that's working for him. Aaron, how many Airbnb properties are you managing right now?
So we have 30 right now, and here was what we covered. Well, so here's what we covered on the mobile home day. So I walked them through in 1 7-hour day, and we recorded it as well, but in 1 7-hour day, I walked them through how to fix and flip in someone else's park, showed them that, walked them through how to fix and finance in someone else's park, how to fix and flip on lots to be a developer, like I just showed you, how to fix and finance on lots, and then also how to buy a park. So in one day, we covered all these topics step by step in detail. So whatever your personal strategy would be, whether you just want to flip, whether you want to be the bank, whether you want to be a developer, whether you want to own the park itself, and to do those strategies, I showed them through, because those are, I now have 6 parks, and so that I own with my partners, and so these are strategies that we're doing in all the parks. So then on day 2, we covered Airbnb. So we talked about how to identify neighborhoods, how to set them up. We went through the Airbnb portal over about 4 hours, went through every aspect of the portal, how we use it, and we covered each of these areas of focus for Airbnb over that second day. Locations, property characteristics, decor, customer service, so on and so forth, in detail, everything that we've learned, because I've been doing Airbnbs now for about 3 years. And so that was the training that we did for those 2 days in San Diego, and we recorded it as well. So we have a copy of that. So those of you that are wondering, you know, you said, well, where do I get the information on the permanent foundations? Don, we're going to be teaching this class again in Dallas, correct?
Correct. We're doing that on September 13th and 14th.
So, and we're planning on recording it again. So those of you that would be interested in that training, Protect Wealth is offering the training for $1,500. That includes 1 full day of Airbnb, flipping, marketing, how we find them, 1 full day of mobile home, parks, flipping, everything that we covered. And then when you sign up, you immediately get the trainings that we recorded in San Diego. So I have links to the trainings that we did. You can see here. That was a 7-hour training that we did. You get that immediately. So those of you that are really interested in the how, like how do I do the permanent foundations, how do I do the lots, we send you the training. We also send you all of the slides that I used for the training. We'll give you a link to the Dropbox with those slides. Now you can see the Airbnb class that we did the next day, and we just did this less than a month ago on June 15th. That was 6 hours and 40 minutes of training just on that one topic. And those of you that know me, we were very thorough. We covered everything. And then I have about 100 slides that we put together that go in conjunction with that. So those of you that are interested in these topics, in more on these topics, coordinate that through Protect Wealth, because for $1,500, you can attend the class live whenever I teach it. We're thinking about offering it in Vegas. We haven't 100% decided that yet, but we're 100% doing it in Dallas. And included with the $1,500 is the 2 days of training. So 13 hours of content-specific training along with the slides. So those of you who are listening to this and you want the step-by-step on how to do these strategies, coordinate with who, Don? With Kendall?
Okay, so they go to protectwealth.com/Aaron Live. And Kendall, if you wouldn't mind putting that in the little chat screen thing. But let me, so you're gonna cover Airbnb homes, Airbnb, mobile homes, tiny homes, flips, really kind of break down how do you get started in real estate, right?
Yep. Yeah, here it is right here.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah, good. And Aaron, let me cover something real quick, because this is what other companies would charge $5,000 to $10,000 to attend this class. We can do it because we've already got the hotel booked for the summit, the 3-day summit. And for those of you that want to come to the summit and learn the basics of asset protection, estate planning, income tax reduction, Aaron will be at our class on the first day, and then we've already got him here, and we've got the hotel booked, and it's not that much more expensive for us to add another ballroom attached. And so we can do this at really low cost. You're getting the same training that other people would pay 2, 3, 4 times that much money for, and yet you've got it from Aaron Adams, who's actually in the game doing this. So Aaron, what would you say if they ask you, well, I can't come to Dallas?
Yeah, in fact, somebody just posted a question and they said, if we signed up, can we get the slide? Let's see, can we get that ahead of time? Yeah, so if you sign up tonight and register for Dallas, Kendall can send the links tomorrow, right, Kendall?
Happy to. Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you could be watching the San Diego presentation. We'll give you the slides and the 2 days of training immediately. You could pre-watch it before you attend in Dallas. I'd say, I mean, if you've been to one of my events, when questions come up, I always answer them. So it's always going to be different. So really, you get the best of both worlds because you get, I mean, let's be honest, about 15% of any of my presentations are completely question-based from students. And so you'll get, another 15% of different content for Dallas, which we'll be recording as well. So, yeah, so if you're interested in that and you're interested in either of those topics, we'd love to have you join us in Dallas. I'm excited about it, and we're going to record it again just because Paul, who does the live stream, he works with us in Dallas. He manages, he's a project manager, for us in Charlotte, and so he's going to be there. Oh, joining me in Dallas will be Brittany. So those of you who didn't have a chance to go on the cruise, she's one of the speakers of the cruise. Brittany does acquisitions for me full time. She purchases about 600 properties a year for me in 3 different markets: Kansas City, Dallas, and Indianapolis. She's going to be on the cruise. So those of you that are on the Protect Wealth cruise, you'll be able to meet Brittany. She's an acquisitions and marketing genius. She's a guru, and since she lives in Dallas, we're going to have her attend on September 13th and 14th with us for that training. So Brittany will be there, so that'll be a whole different perspective. Devin, who runs my Airbnb business in Indianapolis, will be there again to teach that second day training on Airbnb. So you're really getting, kind of an expert angle on that. Go ahead.
Okay,
Don.
so Aaron, if they come in and buy the $14.95 class, can they bring a guest for free? How does that work?
I don't know. That's up to you.
I think we've made the decision. I think we made the decision they can bring one guest with them for $14.95. So they're getting 2 recordings. You're getting the one that you got in San Diego. We'll record this live. You can attend live, and then we send you the recording from the Dallas event as well.
Perfect.
So, cool. All right. Is Aaron going to do the training in Las Vegas in November? Eric, we don't really know that, but certainly in Dallas. That one we've for sure made that decision.
Yeah, and you'll get the slides and the recordings. So I mean, it's really going to be the same difference if you can't make the training, but you'll get a placeholder, because then at any time in the future when we do it again, you can offer it. Now, a lot of you know we're finishing our new brand new office training center classroom in Indianapolis. So Don and Kendall and I were kicking around this idea of maybe the Thursday before our monthly event in Indy offering some type of training. We don't know what we're going to do with it. I mean, I love to teach. I'm doing a ton of different real estate stuff at all times as an investor. And so I love plugging in, 4 or 5 days a month to teach. That fills my teacher's soul. And so, but all we have right now is we have Dallas on the calendar to teach this next, and then you'll have the recordings. Let's see. Somebody said, would a modular home be zoned differently than a mobile home? Yes. So here's the deal, Trevor. A modular home on a permanent foundation is considered a stick-built home. A manufactured home on a slab. So, in parks, like in mobile home parks, they'll have just a concrete slab, and then they'll leave the metal chassis on the bottom of the manufactured home and just set that all on the concrete slab. So sometimes people will buy a lot that they own because they don't want to pay space rent in a park, and they'll put a concrete slab, and then they'll just set the home with the metal chassis still on the bottom on that concrete slab. Cities disallow that regularly. They don't like that because it's a hybrid. It's not a mobile home. It's not a modular home. What really differentiates a modular home from a manufactured home is they take the whole metal undercarriage chassis off and they put it on that permanent foundation like I showed you. So there's a process that you have to follow to do that. You need to have an engineering firm come sign off on the foundation, the way that you attach the home to the foundation. But I've talked to appraisers and I said, hey, when somebody wants comps done for a modular home on a permanent foundation, he said, I look under the home to make sure there's no metal floor joists, and then after that, I just comp it like I would any stick-built home and work it backwards. So I hear a lot of confusion from people who say, you can't do that in my city. They won't allow that. And what they're thinking and what the city doesn't allow is manufactured homes with a metal chassis on the bottom sitting on a concrete slab. That's not a permanent foundation. Once you put the home on the permanent foundation, it becomes fully financeable, FHA, and forever appraises as a stick-built home after that. And so that's the gap that people don't understand, and that's the opportunity that we've stepped into because we don't have any competition. There's no developers that are putting manufactured homes on permanent foundations and selling them on MLS. Nobody's really spending the money to do that, I know, sometimes builders can be snobs and they think that's it's like beneath them. But, for me, I call scoreboard on cash returns because we're offering, like for us, I feel like we're solving the affordability issue. We're able to offer brand new homes that are just as good as any stick-built homes. In fact, sometimes better for less than $200,000. No one's doing that. To me, it's a viable solution for the housing issue.
So Aaron, it seems to me like if you take the home and you take out all the metal, you would be decreasing the value of that home. You're saying it actually increases the value of the home. Take off the metal, attach it to permanently, and that adds value to the home.
Yeah, because now it's you can't move it again, so it's not mobile. It's permanent. It's a permanent home on a permanent foundation. Cool. And when you leave the metal on it, when you put it in a mobile home park and you leave because at the end of that metal is like the towing hitches that they use to like tow it away. And once it's permanently attached to the permanent foundation, it can't be moved again. And it's not mobile. It's not a mobile home anymore. It's like Pinocchio being a real boy. when you put it on a foundation, it's a real home. Same thing.
Okay, so we've got somebody attending the Alaskan cruise wondering if they can get the tapes, and the answer is no. This is
nice
no.
Try.
This is a separate class completely. Heather's saying
you can meet Brittany. You can meet Brittany on the cruise, and then you can meet her after you pay the $1,500 in Dallas.
No, totally separate.
Yeah.
Brittany's going to be on the cruise. And like Aaron said, she's purchased 2,800 homes in the last 5 or 6 years, understands how to buy houses for cheap. I think, Aaron, you've done a great job putting her on your team and teaching her what you have. She's incredible at what she does. And she'll be there to teach that. But she can't replace Aaron teaching mobile homes and Airbnbs and getting started in real estate. She's
not
very
involved in any of that. Yeah, Brittany doesn't do. Brittany just buys property for me, but she's buying mostly single family homes, apartment complexes, and some commercial. But all the mobile home stuff has been where I've been spending my time. We had a good question here. It says, would you recommend this on undeveloped land or just lots that already have access to sewer, electrical? So here's the problem. Okay, if you take undeveloped land and you go to the city, and this is where you just need to go down to city planning, because cities can charge you whatever they want to attach to sewer, whatever they want to attach to water, electrical, gas. They have special permitting fees, so you want to get your arms around that cost. I've been only focusing on lots that previously had a home on them. And so this particular lot I put on, it previously had a home on it that was not on a permanent foundation. There was a concrete slab there. Somebody asked me what the size was. Karen, it's 12, so it's 24 by 60. So this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square foot home. and so good, good sized home that we were able to sell. So, but this lot, when I bought this lot, it already had sewer and electrical, gas. So we only had to pay to hook it up once we put this foundation in. Okay. And you can see kind of in the back corner there, in the back corner, the electrical main already in place from the slab that we ripped. We ripped the slab out there because somebody just had, a mobile home from the 60s sitting on it. And so we had to completely rip that slab out. That was no use to us. But, once we put this new foundation in, that foundation costs about $15,000 to put in, much more than what you would spend on just the slab to put a manufactured home on there. So it's a significant increase in price. Now, one of the other things that we showed at the training in San Diego was how to buy homes. This is a home that I bought in somebody else's park. Okay, so you can see, let me just zoom in here. This was a 1990s double wide that we bought from the homeowners. And when they moved out, we bought it from them for $64,000. It looked just like this. Okay, it's the same appliance they left behind. It's the same flooring. It's the same. I mean, we did nothing but shampoo the carpets. You can see the marks from their furniture on the carpet still. They left an immaculate home behind. And we basically sent them a marketing letter that says, we'd like to buy your home. And we sold it for $89,900. I financed it to the buyers, and they put $5,000 down, and they're paying me 8%. So they're paying me $740 a month on that. And again, in the training, I'll walk you through how to do flips. Now, I could have easily sold it all cash for about $72,000 and made a quick $10,000, $12,000. We decided to finance it, so we got a lot more. But this is another thing that we'll spend a couple hours breaking down for you, is how to do flips and either flip them immediately for cash or finance them. And so I have a whole kind of rule of thumb that I use to decide whether I'm just going to flip it for quick cash. But these are the best flips right now, I think, nationally, because you have no competition for them. I mean, everybody watches flipping shows, and they all think single family homes, and these are great because you can buy them for $20,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 and flip them for $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000. So this is a really good strategy for many of you who are interested in doing flips. Now, let's say you don't want to be that active. It's very easy to do the financing on these, and so imagine just buying something like this, selling it on contract, and then you're just getting the mortgage payments. No maintenance costs, no taxes, no utilities. It's all going directly into your pocket. So I love the mobile home and the manufactured home space, because you can do development, you can do rentals, you can, what we're working on right now, what I'm going to be breaking down in Dallas, is we're doing a whole tiny home community right now. Half of it is going to be rentals, half of it is going to be sold on their own lots. We've been working with a local municipality on this. I'm really excited about it, because this same municipality wouldn't have let us develop a mobile home park. They wouldn't have been cool with any part of that. But they created a separate zoning for tiny homes. And so we're fitting our business strategy into that box, and it's going to be enormously successful. We're really excited about that. So we're going to talk a lot about that in Dallas as well. That's going to be a brand new topic that we didn't cover in San Diego. So
Aaron, do you have a picture
what am I
of
missing,
a tiny
Don?
home? Do you have a picture of a tiny home?
Yeah. Yep. Let me show you one.
I think,
in fact, let me
I
show
understand
you,
it, but I don't know that everyone does.
Yeah. Let me go to the manufacturer's website here.
Joy asked a question, and hi, Joy. Tell your mom hi for us. She's already bought the mobile home class or your training class
cool.
in Dallas, and so yes, contact us at the office. Contact Kendall, probably. Call our office tomorrow, and we'll send you that. That's not a problem. We're glad to have you coming. We're excited for you.
Okay, so here's one that I love. This is only 399 square feet. And when you look at the floor plan here, okay, it's got a little bedroom in the back. Now, it's only 32 feet by 11, okay? And then it's got the front porch. But this would be what I call a big tiny home, because you see some of the ones on TV, they're like 150 square feet. These are a little bit bigger. I like this one, and then another one that we love that we're going to be doing for the community is actually this one. Now, this actually has a log cabin, but we're actually going to do vinyl siding, not log look. But what's cool is on the second floor of this tiny home, it has a little loft. Now you can see it's only, again, 399 square feet, but the loft, okay, gives you another 19 by 10 feet upstairs that, you can't, it's only 5-foot ceiling height, but you could definitely put a couple, for like grandma and grandpa who want to throw a couple of twin beds for grandkids upstairs. Or a single parent who needs a place for their kid to sleep and they don't want them sleeping on the couch or in their bedroom. This could become a really viable type of, or college roommates who don't care. So this is a model that we really love for tiny homes also, that we're planning on using in our tiny home community. What do we got for questions here?
Cool. I don't know. I got sidetracked listening to your and watching your things. Russ, I've heard that at least in Arizona, that in order to qualify for traditional financing, the mobile home must be new when placed on the property. If a new home is that is moved to the property, it is traditionally financeable, or not traditionally financeable. Are you familiar with this?
So yeah, I've seen that. That's actually lender requirements, because I've seen where lenders won't lend on it if it's older than 1990 is what I've seen. Now we haven't even considered that, because since one of the reasons that we now own 2 dealerships is because we knew that we needed to get pricing at cost from the manufacturer. But as a dealer, you can get pricing sometimes as low as $50 a square foot, $60 a square foot. And so we haven't even considered moving a used one and then putting it on a permanent foundation. So that's a strategy I haven't pursued, because I feel like a brand new one is so much more attractive to a homeowner, because then it's a brand new home, brand new permanent foundation, brand new everything. But I have heard of that, and you would want to work backwards from lending criteria. So if you took a home, you put it on a permanent foundation, I've heard 1990 is the oldest that the lender, but I haven't looked at that recently. So that would actually be an interesting kind of follow-up to look at.
Okay.
What's the asking price for the? Go ahead, Don.
No, that's right. What's the asking price for this mobile home you've got on your screen?
So the range, the sales price on these, the range would be anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000. It depends on the finishes, and it depends on So like we bought for our dealership, one of our dealerships, we actually did this model for the office, and our cost as a dealer, so our cost was like $57,000. So if I was to sell it, I'd probably sell it for like 70,000, 65, 70 grand, because my cost as a dealer was like high 50s. So finishes become the big criteria. Now, what's interesting though is you would think that if you have a double wide for $100,000, that if you go down to a little tiny home like this, that it's a third of the price. Not true, right? Because they still need kitchens and bathrooms and finish work. I would say it only drops about 40%, 30%. So it's not that the tiny homes are that much cheaper, but it's a hot trend right now. People like them.
And then they have to look at lot rent as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, right. If it's in a park.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. So any other questions you have, type those in. So Aaron, let's go over your training one more time. So we're going to be teaching this class on September 13th and 14th. It will be in Dallas.
Yep.
You're both a student for life, but you're also an instructor. Would you rather have the people on live, or if you were taking the workshop, would you rather do it live or streaming? What's the advantages?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be better live. It's gonna be better live. You'll learn more. You'll pay attention better. You won't be as distracted. But if for some reason that day doesn't work, that's exactly why we have the recorded versions for you. Or if you're like, I don't want to wait till September. This is only July. I want to get started on this immediately. Again, we'll send you the links to those videos tomorrow from the last time we taught the class, and you can dig in. And actually, if you were to get signed up for the class now, get the videos now, you could come to class completely ready to build off of what you've learned and really get some kind of advanced training from that. So just, a lot of people are, I find a lot of, it was interesting because we had people who after the end of that 2 days said, thank you. I thought I wanted to do Airbnbs. Now I don't. You just saved me. I spent, half of the package, I just spent $1,500 to realize I don't want to buy an Airbnb. And I thought that was great, right? And then other people who said, I thought I wanted to do Airbnb, now I want to do mobile, or I don't want to do mobile. So for a lot of you, if you're thinking about spending your money and your time buying an Airbnb, investing in mobile homes, doing flips, being a builder, if for nothing more, this is 2 days to kind of refine exactly what you want to do and really drill down on whether this is something that you want to incorporate in your investing. That I think was a big value for a lot of people last time.
Aaron, my second daughter went through 2 years of nursing school to decide that she didn't want to be a nurse. And she came back to me and she was so apologetic. Oh my gosh, I've wasted all this time and money. And I went, no. This is the value of education. Sometimes in learning what you don't want to do, I'd rather you figure this out now than after, you get 3 kids and you're locked into a job that you hate. Some of you are going to get in, you think that Airbnb is what you want. You buy a house, you furnish it, you spend all this money to go, I don't want to be there every day and do the bed sheets, and this is a lot more work than I'd rather you learn that at a $1,495 workshop. If this is, or you find out this is exactly what I want to do and this is a great opportunity in my market, the cost on this is incredibly low, and we've kept it this way just so that you can have more money to spend in real estate. Anyway, your thoughts, Aaron?
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting. I did to build on what you said. I didn't learn. We just did. We built some houses in a housing development near. In fact, you'll like this, Don. 4 of the homes we built on Pussy Willow Street. So
Okay.
that made it hard to sell to begin with. Nobody wanted to live there. But I thought that being a builder would be cool. I thought it would be like, so many of the homes, I've done thousands of homes, and when you go into rehab a home, there's always this slippery slope of decisions. Do we replace the roof? Do we replace the roof and the decking? Do we, it's always like you always leave something old behind. I thought, man, maybe being a builder is where to be, because you go through, it's all organized, your crews come in, you're on timelines, and then you're selling. And after building 10 homes, I have zero appetite to be a builder anymore. And so for a lot of you, this could be the best, because imagine if you get into an Airbnb and you're just like, yeah, I like what he's saying about Airbnb, I'm just going to do it, and I don't want to spend $1,500 on this class. And then you get down the road and it's a train wreck for you. This would be the cheapest tuition than trying to do it on your own. And so we'll really help you navigate it, because I got 30 dedicated Airbnbs right now. I have 6 mobile home parks. I personally have $6 million tied up in dealerships, homes, parks, and so I'm actively involved in these two topics. And from one investor to another can really help you kind of navigate that.
And he's willing to teach you anything, open book, ask him whatever you want. Okay, so John is saying, will a typical mobile home park allow a teeny home in their park?
It depends on the owner. Because for them, the space rent's the same. And so I would imagine that hypothetically, they don't care if you put a 400 square foot home or but then I've also seen owners who are very picky about the look and the flow of the park. And so that's going to be case by case that they're going to look at.
Okay, George is saying, I'm attending the Dallas workshop also. That's good. Will you provide some phone number or email so I can contact Kendall? Oh yeah, Kendall, will you put that in? Our phone number, George, is
Yep,
800.
got him. Yeah, I'll get to you, George.
Okay, good. And in fact, anybody.
And George, I have the link on my screen. So the link is protectwealth.com/Aaron Live, and you can sign up directly just by following the register now link.
Is that a / or a backslash?
He's already signed up. /
Oh, cool.
/ Okay.
Yeah, and he's already signed up. So to sign up, it is protectwealth.com / Aaron Live. And I'll also say one thing too, Aaron. You already have a lot of students signed up for Dallas. Just so you know, the class is pretty darn full already. And so really, truly, this is a limited offer for right now, because we probably can do maybe 10 more, maybe in the classroom size that we have, just so you and it is pretty full already. So if you want to do it, I'd sign up if you can ASAP, because we will limit this. Once it's full, it is full.
Correct. We are limited by the size of the ballroom that we have.
So my buddy Neil's on here. I see that some Airbnbers are renting and not bothering with owning to do business. Oh yeah, I've seen that. I've seen Airbnbers who are subletting. We actually talked about that, the pros and cons of that in San Diego. Basically, you go in, rent, and then sublet your place out. I've seen people illegally doing that, like in New York City. And then, our lease at Alpine Property Management has a no subletting clause that would prohibit Airbnb. I wouldn't advise you do that, but every investor chooses their tolerance for risk. I mean, I have a condo in downtown Indianapolis I've owned for 15 years. Easily, I could make $10,000 a month as an Airbnb, and the homeowners association prohibits it, and so I don't do it. I don't try to. I get enough grief legally. Like, I have neighbors who don't like that their trendy downtown neighborhood has an Airbnb next door, and they call me frustrated. But I pay hotel tax. It's legal. I'm following all the state and local laws. I'm in my right to use the building for that. And I'm sympathetic that they don't like that, but that's it's the decision when they either stayed downtown in a hot city or when they moved downtown. So there's pros and cons of living in that neighborhood, and we'll talk a lot in our training about the legality, because some of you live in cities where they're trying to eliminate Airbnbs or heavily restrict them. Some of you live in areas where they are illegal right now. And legality and legislation and regulation, like I would never be a landlord in a rent control city. I would never buy a rental in a rent control city. So not all strategies are good in all markets. I'd say Airbnb is a viable strategy in 90% of America right now. And I would say mobile and manufactured home investing is a viable strategy in 98% of America. And so sometimes people are like proud that a strategy won't, my town won't let you do that. Okay, you want to meddle that your town sucks for business? Like, I don't care. Let's focus on what does work. And so that's why in Dallas, we're going to talk about flipping as a category and marketing for deals, because that knowing how to find deals, and that's what Brittany's going to be teaching on the cruise, and what Brittany's going to be talking about with me in Dallas, is a skill. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what market you live in. If you know how to find deals custom to that market, you will always find a way to keep doing that. I couldn't imagine not going to the auction again the rest of my life, because once I developed that knowledge of how to buy at the auction, how to screen deals at the auction, how to navigate the pitfalls of buying at an auction, that's a strategy I'll continue to do forever. So that's what we're going to really try to help set you up with. You know, many of you have been to the monthly training we have in Indianapolis. We touch on these topics, but we don't deep dive like we're going to do for 2 days in Dallas. And so we're not talking about long-term rentals. We're not talking about passive investing. We're talking about active wealth building, quick cash. And 3 years ago, I had 0 mobile home parks, and now I have 6. 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, I had 0 Airbnbs, and now I have 30. And so I'm a very active investor. I take you know, a lot of chances, and these are 2 really great strategies that I think you should be considering. Do you have good resources to check legality for Airbnb? I would start with the Business Journal in your hometown, and you know, go to the Business Journal or the big newspaper and start with a Google search, keyword search of Airbnb in the town. But the second one, I just go down to zoning and planning. So for example, Indianapolis has seen some of the hottest Airbnb growth in the country because Indianapolis is a top 15 convention market, and they're short 2 hotels. They're short about 2,000 hotel rooms based on the number of bookings for conventions they have. So literally, the mayor has said to us, dude, we love Airbnb. It's subsidizing our convention market. They're finally going to start building one of the mega hotels. And so I'm kind of keeping an eye on that in the pipeline because that can impact our bookings and our rents. And I would never have a home that's Airbnb only. I think that's a mistake. Any home that I have as an Airbnb, I could unwind it and make it a rental. I could convert it to a flip and just sell it on MLS for that very reason. I would never be eggs in one basket on that Airbnb strategy. What do you think of vacation properties for Airbnb? Funny you say that. I was talking to one of my partners today about an area in Idaho called Island Park. And you know, how can we put 3 or 4 tiny homes up in Island Park because it's such a hot area? You know, I'm in Vegas almost every month now, and when I was there the last time, I was like, you know, how do I buy a place here in Vegas and just have the Airbnb cover the cost? And so, you know, those are things that I've been thinking a lot about as well. Let's see what George said. Since the mobile home park will need to approve you to purchase in their park, what strategy could you use so they don't run your credit every time you purchase a mobile home? Oh, I've never had them do that. I mean, they'll always screen me initially. If they keep doing that to you, it's kind of hilarious. That means you have done a bad job bonding with the manager. Because you know, anytime I bought in somebody else's park, I have to apply as a resident for that home and qualify. It's always funny when they're like, okay, so you put here that your net worth is $50 million and you want to live in this park. But that manager should be your best friend, and they're not going to pull your credit every time because one of the things that I explain to the manager is how they're going to make extra money by bringing me buyers for the home. And, you know, a park manager for another owner is probably my single best resource for buying leads when I go to sell the home. So that shouldn't be too big of an issue. Now, I've heard horror stories where people are like, yeah, I bought the home and they told me that they didn't like me doing flips in their park. And I'm like, okay, well, why don't you just say, well, help me get rid of this one and I won't work here anymore? Because I never want, I've had some hostile owners who want those deals for themselves and they don't want me setting up shop in their park. And so I go to a different park. You know, that's an important thing that you're going to have to navigate is who owns the park? How do they feel about third-party investors? Who's the manager? Are they going to be cool with that? Sometimes I've had managers who are hoarding all those deals for themselves. And so all of a sudden, none of my buyers can get approved for the park until I let them source the buyer for me. You know, it's like business 101, how do I make money and navigate the personality and the vested interests that people, you know, their little sacred cows, their golden gooses that are making money for them, and how do I navigate that so I can monetize it? That's a business skill set that a lot of people struggle with. Whereas with Airbnb, if you get the right location and you decorate it correctly and you market it correctly, people will just book on the website and you're not having to sell and navigate the same as you would trying to do flips on mobile homes in other people's parks.
Aaron, would you address something for me? And for those of you that are listening, Aaron is a very unique trainer. Most real estate training classes that I've heard, they're teaching one niche strategy, and they're saying, okay, and students are frustrated because it doesn't work in their market. Or they keep trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, and they're frustrated that it's not working. Aaron, if you were a brand new investor, would you look at a strategy, or would you look at the market first and try to fit the strategy into this market, or would you look at the whole market and say, here's, I don't know anybody that teaches the way you do. We're not teaching one strategy, we're looking at the market. Will you address that for me, please?
Yeah, so there's 4 things that you need to be thinking about if you're sitting here listening to this. Your personal resources, how much cash do you have? How much time do you have? How much experience do you have? So what are you bringing to the table? That's number 1. Number 2, what's happening in the market? Number 3, what are the strategies? And number 4, what are your deficiencies? So are you extroverted people person leader, or are you analytical? Not what are the things that you personally struggle with in a business capacity? Because if you're not taking stock of those 4 things, then you're really doing yourself a disservice. And so I'm always looking for ways to maximize. When I started investing in Idaho, tried doing some flips. That sucks here. Did pretty well on an apartment building, but I couldn't find any more. Rentals weren't that great, just for single family homes. Flipped a couple mobile homes, and now I've been completely pursuing that track. And so I've found a way to work this local economy that fits with the amount of time that I have, the resources that I have, the opportunities here in the marketplace, the strategies that I'm aware of, and then my own personal strengths and weaknesses. And the team that I've built here comprises individuals whose strengths offset my weaknesses. And so by putting it together that way, within, it's a small little market here in Idaho, but I think 2020 we do $5 million in business, and I'm really excited about that. And it doesn't matter if it's Indianapolis, it's Charlotte, it's Dallas. Part of real estate education is the content and the strategies, but the bigger part is looking through the tools that you have, if you will. You're the chef, you have your cutlery, you have your different knives, and how do you use them to make a gourmet meal and to put that together? People don't think about that enough, and they don't think about it. They don't self-appraise candidly. They don't say, this is what I suck at, this is what I'm not going to be good at. They announce what they want to do because they heard at a training about a strategy that resonated with them. So, I've seen people who are like, I want to do residential assisted living, and not taking into account how much work's going to go into, how many dollars they may have to get into it, how much leverage they have to take on, the market they're in. They just like that strategy, and that's why they want to do it. That's what I'm going to help you figure out over 2 days in Dallas and with these trainings. And it may hurt a little, but if you spend $1,500 and go away saying, yeah, I don't want to do Airbnb, that's not for me. Okay, I like it, I'm going to keep doing it, but if I can help you avoid it, that was money well spent. Because you could lose $1,500 a month on a bad Airbnb.
Cool. All right, it looks like we're out of questions here. And so let's just summarize the training. You'll be covering Airbnb, you'll be covering mobile homes, teeny homes, flips, really how to get started in real estate. So if you're interested, it's $1,495. Go to protectwealth.com/Aaron Live. It includes a guest. It's whether you attend it live or whether you listen to the recordings, the one in San Diego that we've already done and the new one, it's the same training, so it's the same price. Aaron, what else would you add to this?
No, I think I'm excited about it because every month for years we've been teaching investors about passive investing, and that's passive income changes your life. But what a lot of people miss is that if you buy one rental and you want that cash flow to build up all of your other passive investments, you're making a mistake. Active income, like the strategy we're going to teach you, is what you use to buy the passive investments. And then the passive income changes your life after that. And so investors should obsess about their active income, because think how many rentals I'll be able to buy making $5 million in Idaho next year. So that's the brain drain, the focus, the energy should be, how do I learn to make more active income and a higher hourly wage in my market? That's the strategy you want to think about.
Great. So everyone, thank you for being here, and Aaron especially, thank you for being with us. It looks like we're out of questions, and so we're going to wrap this up a little bit early tonight. So Aaron, again, thank you for your time. If you can get a chance to come to Indianapolis, if you're interested in buying turnkey properties, or if nothing else, come to this class and learn how to get started in real estate. We're in Dallas, September 13th and 14th. Would love to have you come aboard. All right, everyone, thank you for being on the webinar tonight. Next week, I don't even know what we have next week. Kendall, are you there?
Yeah, it's Brandon Boyd will be on next week. It should be a great webinar. This is kind of on foreign currencies and cryptos and different things, kind of dispel some of the myths about it, but it should be actually very interesting, kind of a new thing that people are afraid of, but could be fun.
And we will.
Did we go over, Dom? Were we supposed to be? Were we 6:30 to 7:30?
6:30 to 7:30. That's perfect. You're actually on time. Good job. That's great.
We went over, Don. We went over 20 minutes.
Oh, we great questions. So we usually go about 90 minutes on these. So we're doing good. We're doing good.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm cool, man. See, we answered everyone's questions tonight. We did good.
Great. All right, everyone. Thanks for being aboard. We appreciate you. Have a great night.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Don.